What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old divisive humor, man.
Good old divisive humor.
Yeah.
Not divisive,
Not
divisive.
Divisive. Yeah.
Divisive humor.
That's
How was
right.
your weekend, man?
It was pretty action-packed. A lot of outdoor activities, cycling, long walks, things like that. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, it was no cycling, like running, watch the play. That you also watched.
Yes. We watched it. Joe Tan's play, right?
Joe Tan's play King.
And Irfan as well, who was a guest on our podcast.
Correct. So yeah, it was good. It was a good weekend.
Yeah. We're in that little calm before the storm, you know. There's the presidential election coming up at the end of this month. And then subsequently after that is F1. So there's going to be a lot of madness.
So NDP was still calm for you?
I mean, I'm saying that little patch of calm between NDP and the next event, which is usually F1, but now we've got the presidential election as well.
It feels like the second half of the 2023, right, shaping up to be a banger, man.
Shaping up, isn't it already?
Oh yeah, it's shaped up to be quite the banger.
July already set the bar.
Keep banging, man.
July set the bar so high.
July, it was the start of July, so literally second half of the year.
Correct.
Off to the races, man.
Yeah. Like,
wow.
And now literally at the races, F1 race, presidential race. Races coming up.
Yeah, correct. Oh, exciting times, man.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
But before going to all that,
yes.
What do we want to ask our audience to do?
Yes, that if you are listening, watching, seeing any of our excerpts on any of the social media platforms, just please click follow, subscribe. That's one way to make sure you keep seeing our content. Thankfully, our followers on Spotify and every platform continues to grow, and we're going to keep pumping out content for you guys.
Yeah, as mentioned, a lot of times it's the non-subscribers who are actually accessing the content. But if you're here, please join the party. Membership is, just hit the button, subscribe.
Hit the button, yeah.
That's all we need.
And if you want to work with us, just DM us on Instagram or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
All right.
Sweet.
Let's jump right into it.
All right.
And speaking of all the races, this first topic is about a particular race, right?
Yeah, correct.
Don't worry, not about racial issues. That one Harish triggered, but that's not. Yeah, it's about a race, like literally race.
Dude, that's such a dad joke, man.
Had to bring it.
Dad joke to the max. But yeah, it is the presidential race, which as of now is still shaping up to be a race, right?
Yeah.
It might just be like a solo joke.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know yet. It could, but there's been a lot of chatter online, a lot of media being done by the hopeful candidates. Right now there are four, right?
Yes.
Tharman Shanmugaratnam, George Goh, Ng Kok Song, and Tan Kin Lian.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, all have submitted.
Yes.
So I mean, what we're going to be talking about specifically is an announcement made by the Elections Department, otherwise known as the ELD, with regards to presidential rallies. So they basically said on Saturday, 12 August, that rallies are not encouraged for the presidential election and there will be no designated rally sites. Because election meetings by their nature and format may be divisive and are not congruent with the unifying role of the elected president. So it said that in the press release. And now there's chatter about it and all. But I mean, even the thought of presidential rallies, I was like, oh shit, did that used to happen?
Yeah, it's so distant that people can't even remember anymore, I think.
Yeah. But it did, right?
I for the life of me, I can't remember. Because the last election was where there was actually multiple candidates was in 2011, right? Yeah. So it's more than 10 years ago already. So I actually can't remember, and it might not be easy finding, videos or images of it on the internet. Surprisingly. Yeah,
I think there was. Okay, so I tried looking up. Yeah, it's not the easiest to confirm. The one thing is that the presidential elections bill that was passed in 2017, there were changes that were implemented that the government will no longer designate any rally sites during the presidential election. So and this was after the Constitutional Commission took the position to not encourage rallies. So it feels like that was the turning point.
Yeah.
2017, there was a decision or position to not encourage rallies. The presidential elections bill was passed.
Yeah.
And yeah, no more rallies that were encouraged.
But question is, when they say you're not encouraged to do it, right? Does that mean that you can still do it if you really want to?
You still can. So if you still want, you will need to get approval from the owner of the site or premises, and then must apply for a police permit.
So that's where they could not permit you lah.
Yeah. So what they're saying is, okay, so due to safety and security considerations, it's preferable that election meetings, if any, be held at sports stadiums or indoor venues.
I think there's a separate argument, right? The safety argument of rallies. And the idea of the president, they're saying that rallies are beneath what a president is supposed to represent.
Yeah, because it's divisive.
Yeah, and the president's supposed to be a unifying, very dignified role.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you heard the argument and all, what were your immediate thoughts?
Okay, so my immediate thought was like, oh shit. You mean are we going to be missing out on presidential rallies? It didn't even occur to me that there would be rallies.
Yeah.
I wasn't even sure whether they're going to be appearing on TV to give their own like spiels, which they are.
Yeah.
But rallies are like, oh shit. If it's not encouraged, that means, was it not like a given? Then I was thinking, oh, if it's a given, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then when I read that it might be divisive, then I was thinking, okay if you look at rallies by Trump and all, everyone's pissed off. I know the political rallies for the general election in Singapore have also been very charged. So maybe it is divisive. But then the more I read it, I'm like, but if we are all supposed to choose one out of four presidents, are we all going to be holding hands, and how is that not divisive?
Yeah. You're saying the nature of an election itself is divisive. You have to choose between one or another, right?
Yeah. So that was my overall like arc of thoughts. But for you, when you first heard it?
I think instant disappointment. Yeah. I was under the impression that it would be a very rah-rah whole
like going
occasion.
Diamond.
Exactly. And then wearing different colours or the symbols. And the truth is, you open up your social media now and all, we're flooded with interviews or even the self-produced and like little clips that all these candidates are doing themselves. So the leap from what it was in 2011 to what it is now in 2023 is huge, right? So it's such a new feeling even for people like us who have lived through 2011 and prior elections and all that, right?
Yeah.
It's such a big jump to be able to see so much visibility of each of these candidates. But I feel the rally is really something special, right? Like that's really something that you only experience when you reach voting age and when you and during like I think the general elections and all.
Yeah.
Some of the photographs of the size of those
insane.
Opposition. Yeah, they were insane, right? Opposition rallies.
Yeah.
And I mean, compared to the incumbents rallies, very different crowds and different sizes. But all the size of those crowds, the pictures themselves caused so much buzz, right, on the internet at that point in time. And maybe in some way, they're trying to avoid this kind of like buzz or speculation about how much support someone has based on just photos, how many people attended rally. Because ultimately, so many people attended opposition rallies, but how did the vote turn out also, right? So sometimes a lot of people are just there just to, take a look around and see what's up at the opposition rallies.
So you're saying you're disappointed? Is it because like, oh, it's not going to be there, or like, oh, the system is disappointing?
I was disappointed because it's not going to be there, because I think, this is about voting in someone who represents the people, right? And if the people can't be on the ground to see, hear, and understand what this person is about, then it's quite a sad thing, right? It's like you might as well box up whoever the next president is, and then he just live streams 24/7 from a little from a table, and that's your only access to the president. That's all you know about him. But you want to see this person in real life. You want to see him walk the ground. You want to see how he interacts when he carries babies, and how he might look in front of other world leaders and all that. And then you can say it disadvantages the independent candidates and all, but at the same time, like like we went to Parliament, right? I think one of the very striking things is how tall some of our parliamentarians are. When they stand up to give their speeches and all that. You can literally see they're a lot
who
taller.
Struck you as tall?
I think Teo Chee Hian struck me as very tall. Ng Eng Hen also very, very long, very tall. And you kind of know because we are always seated in the same position. Then you see them get up. Then they move to that one spot. Then they bow and everything, right?
Or they run to the restroom.
Yeah. So they always come to that spot. So you can sort of assess
correct.
how tall each person is relative to the last person who bowed and all that, right?
Oh.
So yeah, it does strike you like, oh wow, they have a very, very much more bigger physical presence than I imagined. And I mean, Taman, I think he likes to talk about it. He likes to talk about being a sportsman and everything. I'm sure he's like pretty like tall guy. Everything. Have you seen him in real life before?
No.
Yeah, I've never seen Taman in real life. He's like a imaginary, like legendary person that I read about in a book somewhere. Yeah. So without the chance to even see that in real life, I feel that that's a negative for...
But even you go to those sort of like rallies, how close you gonna get?
Yeah, you can't, but at least you see them on stage.
Yeah.
And you see, I think like what we talked about going to Parliament, you see how they behave outside of the camera's view, right? The way they walk, the way they talk, the way they sit even, tells you something about them. And I think we're all poorer if we don't get to, as in poorer in terms of knowledge. We don't get to experience it.
I mean, at first I thought, oh shit, if there's no real life rallies, then what is there going to be in place? And there is going to be something on TV. So there will be the presidential candidate broadcast aired on 24th August and 30th August.
Yeah.
And each candidate will be allocated 2 blocks of 10 minutes to make their statements and blah, blah, blah. Then there'll be a presidential forum on 28th August, which will also be live streamed and then will be posted on Channel 5 the next day. Then at first I was thinking, okay, so at least there is that. But then I also feel that the face-to-face rallies, right, it's almost like it fulfills something in different ways. First of all, you watch at home, right now, everyone is talking, Tharman is the favorite, but is he really the favorite? How are people going to vote? How are other people voting? The thing is, when you go to a rally and you see other people there, things immediately become like larger than life. They go from idea to a movement. And I think that is actually in some way quite powerful because if you look at the 4 candidates, Tharman is probably the most well-known.
Yeah.
Right. Tan Kin Lian maybe from the previous elections, but the other two, they got a lot of ground to make up. So if they cannot rally, then it feels like, okay, you're saying this one thing is no longer a level playing field. Right. And then the second thing about a rally is that you can see the conduct, and I think why this presidential election is exciting, because I'm damn excited. We keep hearing that the president's role is, he's just supposed to be a unifying thing. Okay, guard the reserves, but the running of the country will be by the ministers. I think why it's so important is less about the presidential election. It's just an election.
Yeah.
After so many years of people feeling like they don't have control over anything, this is symbolic of that.
But there was general election in 2020. Right?
But that was during COVID. And it almost felt like, okay, are you going to vote as freely as you could? It was a very trying time. So people, I'm assuming, would have voted for stability. Let's not fuck around. We don't know what the world's going to turn to.
Okay.
Whereas now it feels like, okay, we are kind of something back to steady state again. So I think it is about just, I wouldn't say the illusion of choice. It's just, you finally have a choice. You can make a difference.
But pushing back on that, I mean, wasn't it in the last election where, Workers' Party basically gained quite a lot of ground, right?
Yeah.
About 2 GRC. So it's not, you can say the opposite of what you were saying, where
if you're not in that GRC,
they weren't voting for the stability.
If you're not in that GRC?
If you're not, But what I'm saying that you said generally Singaporeans as a whole would go and vote for stability.
I would imagine during COVID, thing.
But that's the thing, they lost the most seats to the opposition in that period, right?
True lah.
Okay.
But that still doesn't take away from the fact that right now, at least the past 3 years, the past 3 years, it does feel like there's a lot of things that are happening to citizens that you cannot control.
Okay. No, I was just like, destroying your point about the COVID.
No, I still don't think it's destroyed. I don't think it's destroyed. That was just, you're saying, okay, what was the stat? They lost the most number of seats.
Yeah, to opposition, right? No, your point was that people vote for stability, which is the incumbent, right?
Yeah.
But the results bear themselves out differently.
But the actual number of votes,
I mean,
that was an increase.
Yeah.
You're talking about they lost the most number of seats, but in terms of the actual vote percentage, I think it was higher than the last election.
No,
are you sure
not?
For
opposition, yeah, it's higher for opposition.
Are you sure not?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, someone can fact check for us, but I think the opposition had a much stronger showing in this election. Remember, don't forget, PSP, how close they were to also taking, like, getting a GRC as well, even with a completely new team also. Yeah. It's okay, it's okay to admit mistakes. As Nkok Song says, the most important thing, mistakes plus learning equals progress.
I haven't heard him say that. Yeah. But then that's okay. Even if you take away whatever I said that may be factually incorrect, the thing is, it does feel, does it not, Terence, that the past few years, there have been a lot of things that has been happening that, there's a certain sense of like
helplessness.
Yes. Maybe it's even this year.
Yeah.
Maybe it's even just over the past few months, there's a certain sense of helplessness. And not to say elections must fulfill that gap.
Yeah.
But it just feels like, then now it's like, I hope there are going to be 4 candidates. Suddenly only like 2 candidates. So suddenly like, then everything just gets watered down.
But isn't that exactly the so-called danger that they're trying to avoid? That people take their disquiet about the government and apply it to this presidential election as a fuck you vote to the establishment, which is what you're saying. Literally, that's things that people are unhappy about. GST increase, Ivan Lim, whatever, all this Tan Chuan Jin, all these things happening, and you can't do anything. And then you take that anger and you put it on this presidential election, which is not what the presidential election is about.
But not having rallies doesn't prevent that. In fact, it is something that, I mean, it could go both ways. You leave the rallies, maybe people see each other and they get more riled up and whatever angst they feel gets multiplied.
Yeah.
But you take it away, it might have the similar effect.
Yeah. But I mean, do you think, just based on your assessment of these 4 potential presidential candidates, you think any of them are going to go into like mudslinging, the shouting for a chorus of boo and things like that at rallies, if there were rallies? You think any of them would actually do that?
I don't think so.
I agree. I also can't see
I don't think
them.
So.
Yeah, I can't see any of them doing that because I feel like, at least for I think most people, they kind of understand that the presidential role is more of a figurehead, kind of a ceremonial kind of role, right? And to expect that kind of like crazy kind of rallies going on where they're mudslinging and all that, I think I think it actually will reflect badly on the person doing it, as president. Would you want someone saying this kind of crap about other people as your president, right?
Yeah.
And all of them, I think even George Goh as maybe the most independent person, he was also an non-resident ambassador to another country at one point. He's not going to like shit on Singapore that much.
Actually, that's a good point. I think that's the difference between general election and this, right? Already, there are so many criteria that you need to fulfill to even qualify as a presidential candidate.
Yeah.
All of which hold like positions that are relatively esteemed.
Yeah.
High status.
Yeah.
Need to be very, very legit to reach there. As opposed to someone who just joins a political party. Technically, there's no real criteria, right?
Yeah.
To be given stage time at a general election.
Yeah. And if you if you had a PR team, I think they might also make you think twice about like if you're going to go out there and attack other candidates, right? Because it doesn't reflect well on you as an individual. When you're at a general election, I feel like because you're talking about a party, or you're sort of behind that apparatus of a party, and also you kind of you have to. It's like going to war, right? You're wearing the colors of the uniform and all that. You kind of have to play that role. But you're campaigning as an individual, it can trying to be such that kind of figure can feel very can actually turn people off as well.
But then the thing is, even if they are not doing it, where you have a large group of people there for a reason that has something to do with politics, then there's a risk that someone else might try something.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, Tan Kin Lian has a track record of saying some pretty divisive stuff on Facebook.
Just now when you asked me that, the one person who came to mind was, maybe Tan Kin Lian. Maybe Tan Kin Lian.
But there have been observations that he is seems a bit more measured this round, in terms of...
He's a veteran.
Yeah. He knows that, he's got to play the game properly this round. Yeah. But, observations.
Yeah, but also, since over the past few years, elections, if you look at rallies in other countries, they can get crazy,
They can,
Of course, Trump sets the benchmark. But then it becomes a thing. The thing is, if it becomes general elections, got no rallies, then that's messed up, This presidential election, because they are still giving a way for you to apply. We don't know what the process of application or what criteria you need to meet, but they're not saying no. They're saying we don't recommend
They're not encouraging you.
They're not encouraging you.
They're not encouraged.
Yeah, they're like, you do you, man. I'm not encouraging you, but you do you.
And you talk to the police.
which is at least there, You can apply, and you can imagine if any of the candidates apply, they get rejected. They will spin it as a way for them, already Ang Kok Song is saying that there's some preferential treatment, right? That he's not getting access to certain venues or something. So this one, the rally thing, I don't know, man. I don't know how much other people also feel about the rallies not being encouraged. Any dinners that you managed to squeeze in yesterday where you were asking your...
No, it was too soon. But I think the general consensus, when I see on the comments online and all that, people, they're saying it's a farce, right? And do you really need to do that to, I mean, is Tharman... are you that afraid that Tharman wouldn't win, right? I mean, that's what people are hypothetically saying. Because
his rally's got the least number of people.
That they will become that situation where the establishment candidate, or at least the one that is seen as the most pro-establishment, will have the least interest. And then the photos will look very meek compared to the photos of the independent candidates that can rile up the crowds, everything. And that will reflect badly on everyone. And you're so scared of that. But Tharman is a very strong candidate, right?
Yeah.
And I think
a lot of people,
a lot of people have just told me anecdotally they're not even going to bother with the rest of the candidates as well. It's just Tharman, right?
Yeah.
So, why dilute his win or his potential win by having things that prevent people from judging for themselves,
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, Singaporeans have proved that they are more than willing to spend lots of time queuing up for concerts where they have to stand up a lot.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's our national skill now.
Yeah.
Right. So this feels like you have 4 different concerts.
Yeah, 6 days in a row Singaporeans gonna stand up for Coldplay.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I mean it'll be interesting to see what pans out, how the candidates respond to this also, because they haven't really responded to this per se, right?
Yeah. But actually, just a quick note, how about the safety element of things? Given that, we've just walked out from the pandemic, I mean, New Zealand literally just stood down from COVID-19 regulations and all that. What do you think?
Then why have 6 days of Coldplay, Terence? Why have 6 days of Taylor Swift?
That's next year. There's time to
NDP?
Prepare. Oh, yeah, correct, NDP.
NDP, the F1?
Yeah. No, even the voting process itself exposes you. I remember, my wife was pregnant during GE, and I had to go hobble with her into a very big school with a lot of people, and everyone had masks on and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay, I mean, when it comes to voting, it's way more important than whatever safety regulations for COVID there are.
And I mean, I'm assuming that, because all these rallies, if they want to do it, they will have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And there's also a cap for their expenses.
Yes.
Yeah, so they will have to cover security. So it feels like you can mandate certain security things be in place, like your number of security personnel in relation to the voters, but the security thing, that one also a bit weak, the argument.
Yeah.
A bit weak, because we're having so many fucking gatherings and concerts and events.
And this is a presidential election, right? So if you need to have our own police down to regulate the streets and all that.
Maybe
you just do it.
Maybe there's a disconnect. Maybe a lot of Singaporeans are placing too much importance on this presidential election.
Possibly.
Where maybe the authorities feel like, yo guys, it's just a presidential election.
But then what for even have an election? Like I said, like then just have them live stream from boxes, and then you just choose based on that. You vote online based on that.
I mean, I saw a video today of Tan Kin Lian going to onto an MRT. Like the title is literally Tan Kin Lian rides the MRT. And he goes up and shakes hands with people on the train.
Yeah.
Which just blows my mind. Like, I guess that is visibility that makes people talk about it, maybe for the wrong reasons. But I just found it hilarious.
Yeah, I was just... The thought just went through my mind again over the weekend. I was eating at a hawker center and there's this huge picture of Josephine Teo staring and smiling at me. I'm just like, what other job is there where you just go up to random strangers and just say, hey, vote for me, support me, help me,
and help me do my job.
Help me do my job, And that's all it's really just about that, just showing up and just start telling people, hey, yeah, support me, I'm the best person for the job. What job? I don't even know what job, specifically. But it just blows my mind that that's politics, right? It's really those popularity contests, those voting for councillor in school, voting for prefect or whatever in school last time you used to do. But as an adult, you do it as an adult. And maybe you might be the smartest mind in the, you might be senior council and all that. But when it comes down to the on-the-ground stuff that wins you votes and all, it's just really like the popularity contest, right?
Yeah.
So it
but you think going on the MRT to shake hands makes you more popular? Or it gives you the illusion, is it?
I mean, at the end of the day, I think familiarity breeds comfort. So if you see Tan Kin Lian every day come and shake a hand in the MRT, you'll be like, oh, this guy, he knows what it's like to squeeze in the MRT.
But he cannot cover every MRT. And he went during non-peak time. Got a lot of space to walk and all that.
Yeah, maybe that's what they should do. They should do go during peak hour. And then really wow. You just walk on the train, that's like a rally in itself already.
Yeah.
So many people squeezing around you and all.
Yeah, because the thing is I always find it weird when they do videos like that. I mean, people remember.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes viral, but for the wrong reasons. But what is it actually achieving? You're shaking hands with people. Is it the image? Because quite a few people stood up to shake hands, very warmly,
Yeah.
But I just find it wow, how does this make me more assured of you? You can shake hands.
Have you have you ever been in a situation where the MP that was just walking around, or even any politician
when I was younger came to the house
Okay. I've bumped into Lim Tian at the fish market before. Literally, I'm buying fish and he's buying fish also.
Then?
And you read about him, you see him in rallies, all that, and you're like, whatever. But yeah, when you see him in person, some things strike you. He's got a much boomier voice than I even thought, from watching his interviews.
Because you're buying the fish.
Maybe you're buying fish. But a lot of people were coming up to him and shaking his hand and saying, hey, good on you, keep doing what you're doing, and all that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh yeah, thank you for support, and I mean, it's just a line or two, but that's the kind of interaction that stays with people, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that I'm even recounting this and remembering certain things about him.
Yeah.
It just places that politician as a person.
But that was because he was buying fish and people were coming up to him.
Yeah.
He didn't go on the MRT looking for handshakes. The video of Tan Kin Lian is literally going down the row of passengers shaking hands one by one. If he was just taking the train and people come up to shake hands with him, then I would say, yeah, fucking solid. But you go on the train with your entourage and just go and shake hand after hand after hand after hand. Probably don't remember their names also.
Yeah.
Then what are you saying? Vote for me.
Yeah.
You won't vote for me. It's like what you say, anyone who's doing a job, right? Let's say you need to prepare a PowerPoint slide for tomorrow. You go on the train.
Do a video.
Help me with my slides. Help me with my slides. Thank you. Help me with my slides.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah. It is very weird. So, and I think the presidential election doubly so.
Yeah.
Because it's, like we said, it's a very ceremonial role. I think it's not a lot of people are super clued in as to the actual role of the president, right? So yeah, it really is popularity contest to the max.
Maintain the reserves. That's the main phrase. Maintain the reserves.
Yeah. Safeguard
the reserves.
Maintain means you have to work to do something.
Correct.
Safeguard means just you watch it.
Safeguard. But I mean, it is going to be an exciting few days. Like the latest thing was this August 11th was when PM Lee issued the writ of election.
Yeah.
I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
It's basically just a formal document saying that, okay lah, like
let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. It's PM Lee saying, guys, let's do this, man. That's the writ of election. And then 17th August, the application for the COE, Certificate of Eligibility, will close.
Yeah.
Then the applications for the political donation certificate close on August 18th. Then August 22nd August, there is nomination day. So if there's one candidate only, it'll be president. Immediate president.
Tan Kin Lian has come out and complained about the very short timelines, in the sense that maybe you realize you are eligible, then I think within like a day or so, you kind of got to submit your papers for nomination already. So I think what he was actually alluding to was that even if I'm eligible, doesn't mean that I should run. He's saying that he would like to have had more time to consider, even if he's eligible, whether he should run or whether they should think about unifying behind someone else.
Oh, so you mean if what he's saying is even if I'm elected, but let's say eligible, there's two other candidates and me.
Yeah.
Rather than try and split the vote, I go behind one.
Yeah.
Oh.
So even the timing of all these dates, all that, they matter. And some of the candidates have come out and spoken against it or complained about it. So it's quite, it's not just a matter of like procedure, which is true. I mean, if you realize you're eligible, but you only have one night to really discuss with all the other people how you should do it. You
cannot go for a long walk to think and like mull on it and all.
Walk by the river.
Discuss
all these things. You can't, So you kind of got to decide like almost overnight whether you're doing it, and whether you're dropping, more money to chase after that.
So I guess maybe now they got permutations. Okay, if only me, Taman, and Ng Kok Song. If only me, Taman, and George Goh. If only me, George Goh, and Ng Kok Song. I mean, Taman probably likely. So they need to come up with their matrix.
Yeah, and you don't want to lose your election deposit also.
Yeah.
If you don't get like what, 5% of the votes or something.
15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
15%, yeah.
I know at least one other group that was pissed off at the timelines. Teachers and parents probably.
Yes.
Because polling day is set to be September 1st.
Which is Teachers' Day.
Teachers' Day. Yeah. And I think even the N-level examination.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, there's some examination. So there's some comments like, why must it be that day? Because if August 22nd, 22nd is there's more than one candidate.
Yeah.
There will be the campaigning that can go all the way till August 31st.
Yeah.
Which is a 24-hour campaign silence where campaigning is prohibited. Yeah. And then September 1st is polling day.
Yeah. And it's not just because it encroaches on Teachers' Day, which has had to be postponed to a later date. It's because teachers have to work on that day. They now have to go and help out with polling stations and all that, which is part of their job as a civil servant. Which is, it's like adding insult to injury.
If this is your day, you should take a break. But no.
Yeah, no.
No. But it has been moved to September 11.
Correct. But in school, you plan Teachers' Day celebrations and all that.
Yeah.
You plan and then you're like, after Teachers' Day celebration, I'll go for my holiday or whatever. That kind of thing, right?
Some teachers are like, after I have my day, I'm going to peace out.
Yeah.
Now cannot. Yeah.
You can't even peace out on that day. You just
it's like your birthday. It's like your birthday. Say, okay, you just push back your birthday 1 week. But on your birthday, you come and help.
You come and help. We'll celebrate your birthday next week, okay? You are still important, don't worry. Yeah.
Of all teachers, no.
Yeah.
Teachers.
You try that on your spouse or partner or what,
Yeah. Walao.
Yeah.
Teachers, yeah. But I mean, hoping that there's more than one candidate because it feels like it's really occupying the news. It's a lot on social media, or maybe just because of the people we follow and interact with.
So I mean, but kudos to the other candidates for really using social media to their advantage this time. I mean, I think they're really working it, you know.
Yeah.
And I watched some videos and I'm like, wow, the quality of these videos actually is like pretty damn good, man.
Yeah. And I mean, we might be able to speak to that also in the next few days.
Yes,
if things go well.
If things go according to plan and no spanners.
Yeah, no spanners. We should be able to share thoughts. Of how certain presidents are using social media and online content and audio content and podcasts.
But speaking of popularity contest. Our next topic is also about the popularity of a certain institution in Singapore.
Correct.
Vis-a-vis the foreign institutions that are also beloved by people in Singapore. And what is this institution?
It is the results of a recent survey done by YouGov, that ranked the SPL, which is the Singapore Premier League, which is our football league, has the third most popular football competition among Singaporeans, behind the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League. So when you there were 2,000 respondents, and when you saw these results, right? Were you surprised? Were you like, oh yeah, of course, it's our national league?
The thing is, I guess I was surprised by the fact that the other European leagues do not have anywhere near the market share of like the Premier League and all. Like the Spanish League, Real Madrid and Barcelona and all.
Because the Premier League, 43% ranked that as the top.
Yeah, that one given that. We know that, right? Yeah.
Champions League, 25%. SPL, 18%.
Yeah.
La Liga, which is Spain, 10%. Serie A, which is Italy, 8%. And the Bundesliga, which is Germany, 7%.
Yeah.
So, like almost twice the person who's fourth, which is La Liga.
Yeah, I can't speak for the local, the SPL, because to be honest, I don't watch the SPL. But the other leagues, I'm quite surprised that the numbers are so low.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That one, I'm not surprised. I'm more surprised that SPL.
Why?
You just said you don't watch. I also don't watch. I know, like in media, like I'm like, just give local TV shows, local film a shot. But local football, I don't watch lah.
Then you want the Kallang Raw to come back, everything, but you don't watch. Why? Why you don't support?
I'm part of the problem lah. Are you part of the problem, Terence? Fuck you lah. If I'm part of the problem, you're part of the problem.
Let's define what the problem is.
No.
Let's define what the problem is.
Yeah. No. So okay. I wouldn't say like I would still say part of a problem. How big the part? I don't know.
Yeah, I say let's define the problem because I think we do our fair share to try and encourage people to support Singapore athletes, right? Whether it's Soryong or even others as well, which we will hopefully hopefully it will happen.
Yeah.
So that's why maybe it's more about the entertainment factor that you get from these things, right? Like that, for example, there's the FIFA Women's World Cup going on right now. Have you been watching a lot of it?
I've seen a bit of it, not a lot.
I also seen a bit of it. But how about the Men's World Cup? Were you watching that?
Yes.
Yeah. I was on holiday. I was up like 4 a.m. watching the matches and all. And there's this an entertainment factor to the leagues and all that. You can say support local, you're part of the problem, but if it's not entertaining as these other leagues, can you blame people?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to pat myself and feel better about the situation.
No, because I also agree to a certain extent, because for local content, right? One thing that I do hear filmmakers say and all is like support local, just give local film a chance. But I also feel that if the film is not entertaining, you don't want the pity watch, right?
So what's the last local film you pity watched? It's okay.
Ajuma.
Okay. You pity watched that.
I mean, I wouldn't pity watch it. Like, we got invited.
Everyone loved it.
I didn't love it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it,
And we got invited to the premiere lah. So I wouldn't count that as a pity watch lah. But yeah, you don't want that. You want people to be excited. I mean, last time when we put YouTube videos out, right?
Yeah.
If a video doesn't do well, you can tell yourself, oh, this video deserves more views, but at the end of the day, it's just not a good video.
Yeah.
There's something about it that didn't click. The first version of this podcast, it wasn't a good version of the podcast. The Mushroom.
Yeah.
Horrible name. And it doesn't click lah.
So you're saying that, so you don't want to support local just for the sake of it being supporting local, but you want the product to at least attempt to be as entertaining as the big boys lah.
Yeah. Why I would say like for soccer, I still would say I'm part of the problem is because I don't even give it a chance.
Okay.
Like for films, you and I both know that we've gone to watch films.
We have given it a lot of chances.
we have tried.
Yes.
Because like, for me, it's like if I want to criticize a film or something, I want to at least watch it.
Yeah.
But for football, right, I will admit that I have not tried lah.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that I watch a lot of other football. It's just I watch highlights lah.
Yeah.
And once in a while I watch highlights of SPL, but that's why I was surprised. Like 18% is 1 in 5, no? Almost 1 in 5.
Yeah.
Like when are the games? I know I sound like an asshole asking them, but when? Like
they do have the games. I think maybe because we are from the demographic of Malaysia Cup and all that lah, and we are clinging on to the past, trying to. We will only go back if we can relive those glory days.
Yeah.
Relive those glory days. Whereas now, maybe a lot of the younger football fans, making do with what they have lah, which is actually getting better as well. You know, I think C now sponsors the Lion City Sailors, right?
Yeah.
A big team, and then they're bringing in quality players and all. Tampines Rovers and even the Albirex Negata. So there are teams that are actually doing quite interesting things in our SPL. And maybe it's just for us to sort of lower our expectations a bit. Like it's not going to be Kallang Raw. It could be Jalan Besar Raw or whatever stadium Raw you go to lah. And maybe we ought to give it a clearer chance.
Yeah. And maybe just start off by, I would imagine watching a game is always going to be fun. Because Singapore, the stadiums are not super huge, so you're almost closer. Like you can hear the players shouting at each other for the ball and all.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was younger, I used to watch. I was fucking member of the Tampines Rovers football fan club.
Okay.
The year after we got kicked out from Malaysia Cup.
Sundram,
No, he wasn't at Tampines Rovers.
I didn't want to see.
It was Nasri Nasir was at Tampines Rovers, I think. Yeah. I went to the event. Wow, it was damn fun. And the first season of, what was it called back then? S-League.
S-League, yes.
Yeah,
S-League,
first season was interesting. Then the powerhouse was SAF lah.
Yeah.
With Abbasad and all, I think.
And Geylang.
Geylang with Fandi lah. Geylang with Fandi.
Yeah.
So it was fun. But then after a while, it just got tapered down. And then access to overseas leagues increased a lot. And I mean, ultimately, like why you watch World Cup football for men is because all the players, you see them all over there, like global superstars lah. You know? For Women's World Cup, I can imagine it being entertaining. It's not as fast-paced, but we also don't know a lot of the players.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've heard the argument that women's tennis is sometimes more entertaining than men's tennis. Partly because it is less like, just serve like a 250-kilometer ace. And there's actually more tennis being played. I don't know, you watch more tennis than me.
I mean, the skill-wise, it's quite clear. There is a bit of a divide. And this is like from having that literally was like Serena Williams. I think at one point they called out like male players to play against.
And they lost, right?
And they lost, right?
Yeah.
But women's tennis, it's like you kind of, okay, they might not be playing at that same level as the men's tennis side, but they are playing against formidable opponents nonetheless. And it still makes for quite an evenly fought match.
And there's more rallies and all.
Yeah. But the skill-wise, I would still say the men's side definitely still wider spectrum. But I mean, actually now that it's quite interesting, the world football in the last couple of years, there have been 2 leagues that basically have risen from like the ashes or wherever they were before. Like the Saudi League and now the MLS as well, because of the appearance of Ronaldo and Messi in those leagues. They have sort of ignited interest in both those leagues. Right? People are even considering watching some of their matches.
That's
and all.
true.
Maybe that's the kind of shot in the arm that our Singapore league needs. You know,
it means we need billions of dollars.
Yeah. To bring one really big name and then everybody will jump onto the
because
wagon.
You can literally see it like for. I think MLS once in a while, last time there was David Beckham, then there was Zlatan. But now that Messi has gone, I'm also watching the highlights.
Yeah.
For Saudi, I think Ronaldo arguably had even a more of an impact because alongside him, now there are world-class players there. Like Karim Benzema, the current Ballon d'Or world's best player, has moved to Saudi. And it's crazy. So there is going to be more choice. And it's also better timings, I think. For the games, right?
It is, So, I mean, who knows, man? Like right now, hopefully, I mean, barring whatever's going on in the national team, hopefully there is more interest in the league as well. I'm happy to see it like become more prominent and more international players think about, because Singapore's also a more attractive place to live and everything, right? So hopefully,
parental high, bro.
Yeah,
parental high.
Yeah. They have to stay. Find some billionaire benefactor who lets them stay in the GCB.
I mean, if we got like a uber billionaire who moves here and decides, you know what, I want to fucking pump money into football, like C lah.
Yeah.
C kind of did that, right?
Yeah, with one team.
So I mean, I'm still optimistic because regardless, I think Singapore, there's so much talent in every way.
Yeah.
It's just the football. Hopefully.
Maybe we should go to a match. Maybe after Parliament. Now that we talk so much about Parliament, then
if we can go to Parliament, we can go to a match.
Yeah.
Maybe we go to a match.
A lot of times I've been pleasantly surprised how entertaining these things are, whether it's like Singapore Pro Wrestling, or even the basketball. Last time I went to watch the Stingers play and all, it was quite fun.
I think because you just go and you can shout, vent whatever anger you have. Also, of course, don't scold the players
Yeah, just like presidential rallies.
Yeah, that's
You see the connect that we did in this episode is amazing.
And they said hold the rallies at sports stadiums, right?
Exactly.
So you go there for rally in the afternoon and night football.
Yeah. You get 2 for 1.
Day out,
buy one ticket, you get 2 events. How shook is that?
Or if any soccer club up there needs the marketing idea, just buy 2, get 1.
Yeah.
You know, there was Oppenheimer. Maybe they can be like some sort of like
Barbenheimer kind of overlap.
There's like
S-League / the SPL / presidential election.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Maybe.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
But yes.
Cool, man.
Just speaking of your one Shiok comment.
Yes.
What is your one Shiok comment?
Would you like to pull up yours?
I mean, over the weekend, I think on our subreddit, I put out a post asking for questions for presidential candidates. So in the event that we have a presidential candidate on the podcast, we do want to hear from everyone what kind of questions you want asked.
Yeah.
And granted, we won't have the time to ask every single question, but I think there already have been quite a number of interesting questions that have come up in this subreddit. And even on our Instagram stories when we posted about this also. So I mean, shout out to everyone who has contributed. We've already got like 19 comments / questions. So please keep doing so on our Reddit.
By when?
By tomorrow, if you can.
By Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes.
15 August.
Yeah.
By Tuesday, 15 August.
That's the kind of timelines we're working with in the presidential elections, right? We really don't have that much time.
Yeah, correct. And hopefully if the questions are good enough and nothing no spanner and the guest comes on, we might get other guests.
Yeah.
We might get other guests.
Yeah. And what's your one Shiok comment?
My one Shiok comment is just a post by Apprehensive Nails 971 who dug up the photo of the Grab marching contingent and went down all the faces and noticed that Tin Pei Ling is not there.
Yeah.
So then someone also, I mean, they posted like at the bottom, PS, I was bored. Because it's a lot of effort, man, to find the picture, to go through every face, and then realize that you can't find Tin Pei Ling. So shout out to you for the effort, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Was there an expectation that Tin Pei Ling should be marching in the national
I would have.
parade?
No. I think cannot. I think that was if she got seats. If she marched, right, then everybody confirmed like, hey, Tin Pei Ling, please, look at your priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then, what is your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing is a channel that I just recently discovered. It's called Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis. So back in the day, there was the WWE. There's a sort of a mid-carder kind of wrestler called Stevie Richards. And now he's created a YouTube channel where he does quite interesting videos, just talking about things that go on in wrestling. Like how does it feel getting slammed onto thumbtacks? And he shows you videos of matches where he got slammed on thumbtacks and how it actually feels, and the little actions they do in the ring to signify that that they're done or things like that. So all the little tactics that they use to make it feel less painful, or just to maximize the visual of all the pain that they go through. So he really goes in depth into a lot of these interesting questions about pro wrestling.
So he's a wrestler himself.
Yeah, he was a big wrestler back in the Attitude Era, like the 2000s, that era. No, not big, like mid-carder, right? But now he's he seems to be, I don't know, fitness instructor / YouTuber. But he's found found a second wind by talking about all these things going on in wrestling, the trends, the little tricks that wrestlers do, and why certain wrestlers are underrated or overrated, things like that.
Oh. Wow.
Interesting, yeah.
And how you chanced upon him?
I mean, I think my feed, I have quite a lot of I watch a lot of wrestling things.
I see.
Mainly as a retro thing. I like to watch old matches and all. Then I think this comes up because he's from that era.
I see.
But yes.
Okay.
And what is your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing is also a YouTube channel that I chanced upon because I saw a cut video and then I Googled one of the people in that video and I somehow ended up with this channel. It's called Soft White Underbelly.
Ah, okay.
Have you heard?
I think so, yeah.
So it's this channel started by a filmmaker called Mark Later. And it features interviews with, I quote, people who are frequently invisible in society: the unhoused, the sex worker, the chronic drug user, the runaway, the gang member, the poor, and the sick. So I mean, there's a lot of channels out there where, someone sits in front of a camera, it's well lit, and the conversation goes. But there's something about this channel that I feel very, the way he asks the questions, the way he frames them up. I mean, they all look, the lighting, the background, all sweet.
Is it a podcast or what?
No, it's 20-minute, 55-minute videos on YouTube.
Okay.
So interviews and portraits of the human condition by a photographer. So they all look very photogenic.
Yeah.
But the questions and all, it just feels like the guests he gets all very interesting guests. His latest video, he uploaded yesterday, is a flat earther interview. But the most viewed video on his channel, which blew my mind, is something about the Whittakers. So the Whittakers, right, is this family that's somewhere in the rural part of the US, where he also appeared on a Joe Rogan podcast. Because when I saw that video, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And they look like a family where their eyes are a bit pointing in different directions, bad teeth, and a very poor part of the US. And when I heard him telling the story, he basically said he was going on the Appalachian Trail or something, just looking for the parts of the US that he always found super interesting. And he chanced upon this one town where there was this one family just sitting there called the Whittakers, and he took his phone camera out with the help of a local police officer, because the neighbors were all very protective of this family.
Okay.
And then they can't speak English and just broken English, and he found out that they were a family of 3 generations of marrying siblings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then that video went viral, and then he started doing portraits of them, and he said they are a lovely family. And that's why all the neighbors around them are very protective, because people come and throw eggs at them and all that.
Oh, man.
And he has started a GoFundMe page to kind of help them survive, because I think they get by, a family of 7 with $1,000 a month.
Oh,
which is it's poor.
Yeah.
Then you look at his channel, it's wow, the people he interviews all, it's very interesting. So the Whittakers, they have a lot of families, just over the years he's gotten to know them better and better, and they just seem like a very sweet family.
It's called Soft White Underbelly.
Yeah, Soft White Underbelly.
Is it primarily about white people or something?
No.
No, okay.
I think it's just maybe you look at a crocodile and below is Soft White Underbelly.
But now in this day and age, anything white, you have to question.
He started in 2017 before people woke up.
Yeah.
Now maybe he'll be soft neutral underbelly.
Yeah, soft uncolored.
Soft neutral underbelly. Yeah, very, very cinematic channel. But yeah, cool, man.
Nice.
Sick. All right.
One of the week.
Thanks everybody for listening, and it's going to be an exciting next few weeks.